New Zealand is an island country of 4.5 million people. A nation of immigrants, both recent and from long ago.
So the family came out from England in the very early part of the 19th century. They felled and milled timber to grow a new nation.
It's a land of hillsides, dotted with sheep and cows.
Here with us we have 29,000 sheep and about 2,400 cattle.
And New Zealand's abundant coastline teems with fish.
The most important thing I enjoy about fishing is we see dolphins and whales and sharks and penguins and turtles, and you see all of these things.
When you stand here on this land, you cannot help but marvel at the natural beauty. It's truly astonishing. It's hard to imagine that 30 years ago, New Zealand was on the brink of economic collapse.
I mean, it was tough. Losing a farm and my childhood dreams of owning a farm had been dashed.
And it ruined some lives. And there was some real pain out there, and some real pain and some real hurt and some real anger. I had some good personal friends lose everything they had through those times, and it was bloody hard.
The country was in crisis, and it was clear that something drastic had to be done. New Zealanders, affectionately called Kiwis, took the painful steps required to stop the downward spiral, and bold reforms were voted in. I'm Johan Norberg, and I'm here in this beautiful land to share the story about how the Kiwis took the bull by the horns, reformed their country, and became genuine trailblazers for the world.
Major funding for this program was provided by the Donald and Paula Smith Family Foundation. Additional funding was provided by Donors Trust, Incorporated.
If you can imagine this, we were a benign North Korea. Everything was controlled by the government, and I mean everything.
You had to have a permit to go on a holiday and get the money for travel.
I remember my father bought a car, and he had to put his name on a waiting list for like 6 months, and then you had to go into a lottery. It was dreadful.
There used to be a 6 to 9 month waiting list to get a telephone put on, and this is in a house that had all the infrastructure in place.
We're a dairy-producing country, so if you wanted to eat margarine, you needed a doctor's letter of support.
It was crazy. Like a pair of working boots manufactured in New Zealand were probably 3 or 4 times the price of a pair of boots in the United States. It meant everything that we had here was expensive, or way more expensive than what it could have been.
In 1960, New Zealand was the third most prosperous country in the world. 20 years later, it had fallen to 18th. No one was untouched by the decline. New Zealand's parliamentary government had evolved into a controlled system that dictated everything, from salaries to the manufacture of staplers.
But the heart of New Zealand's economy wasn't manufacturing, it was agriculture. And families who had been farming here for over a century were the backbone of New Zealand's agricultural economy. Families like the Cashmores.
Yeah, so this property is just under 5,000 acres. So on it, all up, just under 4,000 ewes and just under 400 cows run on it. Our income's around 40% from sheep, 15% from wool, and the rest from cattle.